Hey everyone, we've been spending the last few weeks walking through this book called The Treasure Principle by Randy Alcorn. And it's challenging us to think a little bit more deeply about how we view money and the treasures that we have in our lives. Well, this principle that Randy gives us this week in the book is Treasure Principle key number 2, which he says is, "My heart always goes where I put God's money." Now, last week we talked about all of our resources and the fact that it really is all given to us by God, and how we handle it kind of reflects the way that we think about God's money, or the way that we think about God's resources that He's blessed us with. And this week, what Randy's making the point of is that our heart actually follows where we put our money. So Jesus actually said it this way in Matthew 6:21. He said, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." I was thinking about this, and I actually thought about buying a new car. Let me explain. I have 3 young kids, and one of the things that I often think about is the fact that I don't really want to have a brand new, freshly painted, nice looking car. And the reason is because they already run into the car that I have with their bikes and footballs and basketballs and baseballs and bats and all other kinds of things. And they're banging into my car all the time. Now, because my car is pretty old, it's a used car, I have a lot of miles on it, I really don't get worried about it that much. In other words, I'm not putting a ton of money into this car to keep it looking nice, so I'm not too concerned when they bump into it or when it gets a scratch or a scrape or something. Now, imagine if every time they bumped into it, I lost my mind because I was spending tons and tons of money on a car payment each month. Or maybe if I had a brand new classic car and I parked it in the driveway and it was refinished and it was just beautiful, I may not even let them touch it or come anywhere near it, and rightfully so, because they'd probably mess it up. The problem with that is I have just valued more than my kids. I have valued an object. Maybe it's a material thing. Maybe it's not even a material thing for you. Maybe it's a vacation or something else that you want to spend a lot of money on, and you're putting all of your money and all of your chips literally in that basket, and you're putting your value and maybe even your identity in that basket. That creates all kinds of problems for us. There's a better way. There's a way where we can live where you can still enjoy certain luxuries. You can still enjoy having a nice home and a nice car without letting your heart be tied to it. That's what we have to guard ourselves from. That when we spend money, when we use our resources, we don't give our money to things that's going to tie our hearts to it. So the best way to practice not letting that happen is by releasing your treasures into areas where your heart isn't necessarily going to be hurt by being tied to it. And that could be giving it to people who are in need. It could be supporting a ministry or supporting a nonprofit that you really like or that you love, or maybe even just using it to support your own pursuit of something that draws you closer to God. So we just need to be thinking about how we send our money out into the world and what kinds of things it goes to, because inevitably wherever we put our money, our heart tends to follow that. So use that, be challenged by it, consider those things, spend some time in prayer thinking about, what am I spending money on, and does it have the attention of my heart? And if it's something that you don't want to have your heart's attention, maybe consider changing that path. All right, well, we'll see you next time when we continue studying this book, The Treasure Principle.